So this is called the Max Firebox. My son's name's Max, so that's the idea behind it. That's why it's called the Max Firebox. Starting down here at the bottom, what we have here is the feet are adjustable, okay? They're adjustable by this wrench. So what this wrench also does is it attaches and detaches the unit from the stand. This is designed to fit in the back of a full-size truck. So if you have a public education event you're going to, or if you're going from station to station, you're using it like that. That's the idea of it there. So on the, as we come up the door, okay, see this gasket material on the door? There's a gasket material there on the door. After about 300 burns, I had to replace that gasket material. So I wanted this to be a fire service tool that would last forever. I wanted zero maintenance, and you never have to do anything to it except put the fuel loads in. So within this, I had to replace the gasket, and I went totally against everything that I thought as far as making it reusable to where you never have to put anything into it. So what I did is I redesigned the door. Thank you. I redesigned the door, and now what we do is we put a cut into the front plate, and you can see the gasket here on the door. So that's how I've changed it to make sure that it would last forever. So that's a steel bead, it lines up steel to steel. Also, if you put it down, all right, what's going to happen is over time you damage that gasket. So that's the idea of the two hanging brackets there. That way if somebody puts it on the ground, it's not going to damage that gasket area, okay? The next side of it is your fuel load. This is your fuel load. So what you're able to do here is open it up, put it inside, and that's your fuel load. So everything you need for the burn is right here, okay? Now, within that, there's also some shredded paper right in this area. And then also we include 2 pieces of carpet and then the small firefighter. So we have all different sizes and style of firefighters. If y'all purchase enough fuel loads, you can collect them all. So that's the idea of the fuel load. What we did here is we put moisture on this piece of carpet, and there's no moisture on this one. So what we're going to be focusing on here is using the reach of the stream and talking about that. A few years ago, I knew I could stand behind it. It was a long road. Once I knew I could stand behind it, I loaded up and I got to burn in front of some key people, okay? And I've learned so much along the way, and that's where I feel like, you know, our tagline is burn and learn. Because the idea of doing what I call a 2-hour death by PowerPoint, where you're just memorizing definitions, I feel that if we can bring the definitions to life, I think that makes a huge difference for whenever we're learning, especially firefighters. I think we're hands-on visual learners. So how I look at this is this is the fire behavior learning ladder. You do a short classroom session, and then from there you go out and bring the definitions to life. So that's the idea as far as, you know, the purpose that it serves. When we all learned our fire behavior, we did our first burn, where'd they put us? They put us right in here. And you can't hear the instructor. To where at the Max Firebox, we're able to communicate, we're able to show the different things taking place. One of the things that the folks that kill the flashover talk about is it a go or no-go situation? And as we talk about that and as we look at that, what we're looking at is the door opening. And what we're going to focus on is 50% of the neutral plane and then 500 degrees. So visually look at it, and then also look at it through the eyes of the thermal imaging camera. Think about this. It's a snowball on top of the mountain. It's coming down the mountain, coming down, coming down. It's going to get harder and harder to stop as that snowball comes down the mountain. So every minute the fire doubles in size. We've all said that multiple times. It's great for public education. How we're going to look at this is we're going to look at it a little bit different. We're going to look at it as every 18 degrees, the energy of the fire is going to double. So look at it like that. And then also watch on the camera, watch visually, watch how fast we go from 500 to 800. Because like I said, it's a snowball coming down the mountain. So some of the different things that we want to be focusing on and we want to be talking about. Any questions so far? Okay, so remember, this is moisture on it. This is dry, shredded documents. There's our little firefighter. So we'll get started here, and we'll come up and we're going to put our propane torch in there and we'll get the fire burning. So remember, every 18 degrees, the energy of the fire is going to double. It's a snowball on top of the mountain, and that snowball is going to start to come down the mountain. One of the things that Dave Dawson talks about is volume, velocity, density, and color of the smoke. That's something else that we want to be looking at, something else we want to be focusing on whenever we're burning here. So I'm holding my propane torch in here. I'll hold it in here for probably about a minute, I'll remove it, and the fire's just gonna barely be burning, okay? So be thinking about that. Because down the road, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna really be showing how smoke is fuel. And by showing how smoke is fuel, we're gonna be igniting the smoke. This also really shows the importance of closing the door. So if we're on the engine company, we're stretching our way through, we see open doors, we wanna make sure that we're closing them doors as we're working our way through that structure. So I'm gonna pull it away, and I mean, we're barely burning inside there. Also, keep in mind, at that 50% of the neutral plane, think about that where the couch is, the sofa, the different things like that. So look at that as hey, here's the door handle, and that's what we're looking at as far as that 50% of the neutral plane, some of the different things that we want to be looking at. So right now, I mean, we're barely burning inside there, and we held our propane torch in there for an extended period of time, but we're gonna hold it in here even longer now. The floor is clean, and remember, you're seeing this from a room away. You're not inside this room. We know that we want to kill the fire. We want to kill the heat. Also, when you're seeing red on the camera, remember, red means stop, okay? That means we got to put some moisture on it. And that's how we can be looking at this piece of carpet, these two pieces of carpet. That could be the couch, that could be the sofa, it could be the bed, it could be whatever that we're crawling past. And we're still just barely burning inside there. So we'll come up, heat it up and speed it up to get it going, to get it burning much hotter and faster. All right, so there we go. So we'll let this heat up. I always start off on more of a fog whenever we show some water application stuff, but start watching it change gears, okay? And then also, as far as the thermal imaging side of it, take multiple cameras, put them together, kind of look at the different images, look at the different things that are taking place there as far as whenever you're looking at it. But also remember, we got to look at through the visual eye also that we want to be focusing on. So already we're starting to see that rollover take place. We're starting to see the fire change gears. It's a snowball, it's on top of the mountain. We can see it's on top of the mountain right now, and we know that we can kill that very simply. Close the door, put moisture on it, some of the different things that we want to be looking at. So watch the smoke, watch how fast the smoke's traveling, watch the velocity of the smoke, okay? So really start watching that velocity, watch what's taking place there. And then on the camera also, folks, really take a look at the fast traveling gray smoke. Because as we heat this up and we do the different things there, you're gonna see that fast traveling gray smoke. And then also go from hot to cold. Because remember, you're working your way to that fire, you're gonna be putting that camera down. It's gonna go from cold to hot. So really switch that camera around and move around it to kind of see some different images that are taking place there. Now, are we changing gears pretty fast now? Yeah. See how fast the smoke's traveling? So you can tell how we're really changing gears here. We're really changing gears fast. We're changing that environment. Cool air's coming in down low. We got that bi-directional flow. Floor's still clean. Our firefighters safe. Our pieces of carpet, our shredded documents. But look at how fast we're changing gears. We're really changing gears now, and we can tell that snowball's coming down the mountain. We're talked about that 50% of the neutral plane. We'll focus more on that, but remember, we're about in this area, and we're looking at that as far as that door handle, where that door handle is going to be. So this will be our first time. What we're going to do is we're simply going to close the door. When I close the door, take a look at the smoke, but also take a look at the air track. Watch where the neutral plane is. Through the visual eye, you're going to see smoke from the ceiling down to the floor for a period of time. But through the eyes of the camera, you will know exactly where to put the moisture. It's just not flowing water everywhere. You know exactly where to kill it whenever I open this door. So here we go. We're going to open that door, look at your air track, look at the smoke behavior, and look at it on the camera. You're seeing them different things take place. And now also what I did is I ignited out in this area, okay? Because we want to focus on smoke is fuel, right? And that we want to focus on why it's so important that as we're working our way to that fire, we're closing them doors. Because we know that we want to stop them products of combustion from working their way throughout the whole building. So already compared to earlier, I held my propane torch in there for a long period of time to where now what happened? Boom, smoke is fuel. We can be too rich, we can be too lean, so that'd be the definition of the flammable limits, correct? So ignition temperature, fire point, them different things. And like I said, what are we doing? burn and learn. We're bringing definitions to life. We're showing the thermal imaging, and then also think about the public education benefits and the different things like that we can focus on. So already changing gears, really changing. Watch through the camera again. Now it's going to start looking even more different on the camera. Look at your air track. You can see where the fire is breathing from. I come up, and then I ignite. And then also you see that pressure building up there, and then when I ignite, you're going to see it blow out. So you'll see that taking place. But we're really changing gears fast. This time, let's put some moisture in, and we're going to go up high. Let's change everything. Are you seeing that on the camera? Can you tell a difference?
Cooled down a lot.
Yeah, huge difference, okay? But look what happened. You know, and this could be the thing, hey, what do? We reset it, okay? But eventually, that is going to reignite. So here's my ignition source. Now I'm going to come up, and there's my ignition even farther away this time. Remember, this is used in the reach of the stream. And then the thing is we're not learning this right here, okay? We're back here learning this. But also, this is a room away. You're not inside that room. You're making sure it's safe to push forward, and then also you're using the reach of the stream as you push forward, and you work your way into that. So, one more time, let's look at the thermal imaging camera. Let's take a look at that, but also let's look through the visual eye. Let's look at the smoke conditions. Let's look at how much we've changed this environment just by simply opening the door. So the door was closed. We get there, look at your neutral plane, look at how fast the smoke's traveling, and we know that we have an ignitable mixture right in that area just by looking at how turbulent the smoke was. So even if you don't have the thermal imaging camera, you pull up and you see that fast traveling smoke, you know you have an ignitable mixture there. So kill it, right? You know, and making sure that you're using the reach of the stream. Now we're really changing gears now. So here we go. Watch the color change. Watch how fast we're changing gears now. There it is. And do you see where I'm burning exterior? I was burning in that area, but it wasn't going back in. So that really highlights that range. You can be too rich, you can be too lean, you can be just right. So now, look at our piece of carpet with no moisture on it. Like we said, that could be the couch, that could be the sofa. It's off-gassing, it's starting to melt. Our shredded paper is starting to ignite. And look at the heat damage to our firefighter, okay? Now on the camera, it's probably gonna start to look like fire coming out of there, okay? So look at it through the camera. But look, see, can you all see that piece of carpet, how it's melted? Okay, the other piece of carpet's hanging in. Like I said, that's the couch, that's the sofa that you put moisture on before you went crawling by because of that superheated environment. Here I come up, and there's ignition. See the head of the firefighter here, his helmet, how he's melted? Also think about this. How much protection do we have here compared to here? We have more protection in our gear on our butt than we do on our head. Where's that head gonna be? It's gonna be up in that environment. So there we go, really changing gears. There's ignition of our firefighter, and we're gonna be losing that piece of carpet there. There we go, ignition, coming down. And then, you know, look at that, because the floor, for the most part, is still clean. All right, you're still cleaning that area of the floor, but you're really able to highlight that neutral plane, and look at where you're at on that neutral plane now and the different things. And now look at where I'm igniting. And one of the things that I think is really important to focus on is when I first started, how long did I hold my propane torch in there? To where now, close the door, boom. You know, look at what happens. So, you know, that could be us. We get there and we're just crawling through. We're looking for the seat of the fire. We can't find it. What's happening within that time frame? The fire's getting the oxygen that it needs, and you can see it. Remember that snowball we talked about on top of the mountain? It's coming down the mountain. Now watch here. We open it. Look at your smoke behavior. Look at your air track. Remember that 50% of the neutral plane, them different things that we want to talk about. And look at where I'm igniting the fire gases now. I'm that much farther away. And look, that piece of carpet, it's okay, which I think is just phenomenal. You know, when you stop and think about that, how important is that reach of the stream? How important is looking at it? And remember, you're seeing this from a room away, all right? You're not inside that room because we're not gonna survive that room. And then we're using our skill sets, we're using our thermal imaging camera, we're making sure that it's safe that we push forward. One more time on the smoke behavior. Look at the smoke behavior. Did you see the color change when I first opened it? See how turbulent it is? Very turbulent. I know we're ignitable, just like visually you would know, but now really focus on the camera. We'll let it heat back up, flash the room over, we'll close the door, we'll open it, and then we'll highlight the thermal imaging camera. So we'll really focus on that, take a good look at it, watch what's taking place with it whenever we open that door. So, and then you're hanging on, that piece of carpet's still hanging on, which is just fantastic whenever we think about the reach of the stream. Here we go. We open it, look at how turbulent the smoke is, and on the camera, how we looking? I mean, you would kill that, right, if you saw that? So, and that's the important thing. Neutral plane, that whole 500 degrees thing. Remember, human skin is destroyed at 160 degrees. You know, and whenever we think about that, using the reach of the stream, we can really focus on how important that is. So here I come, and there's ignition. So what I want to do now is I want to get to the point where we can really look at that ventilation-induced flashover. We'll see it coming. We'll see it visually through our eyes, but then also through the thermal imaging camera, we'll see it coming there. But before we do that, let's do one more smoke is fuel, the importance of closing the door as you're working your way to the seat of the fire, because we know that we don't want them products of combustion going throughout the building. And think about how much more fire can we extinguish by controlling the oxygen than we ever can with water. You know, so give that some thought too. So let's look at smoke is fuel. Here we come. We're gonna close that door. Door is closed, smoke is fuel, and there's my ignition, and there it is. And now you're really starting to see it blow out too. You know, so think about that. We ignited here, came down, everything's gonna blow out. So we're seeing that ignition of the fire gases there. So, any questions so far? Okay. Let's see where we're at as far as the ventilation-induced flashover, but also let's look at it visually, and then let's look at it through the eyes of the thermal imaging camera. We'll take a good look at that, and then we'll move on to our next few things to talk about. So, all right, let's see where we're at here. Doors closed, engine company got on scene. Look at your neutral plane, and there's ignition. You know, so the big thing is now you can see it coming, right? You know that something bad's getting ready to happen. Whether you're watching it from the pump panel or you're standing out front, you can see it happening. So here it is, doors closed, we open it. Look at how fast the smoke's traveling. And did you see where we're getting the auto ignition temperature of the fire gases? So we're at that about 1,000, 1,200 degree range. So we're getting the auto ignition there. So here we go one more time. And you know, the biggest thing about this is it's just not a one and done. You know, if you want to do this over and over, that's fine. You know, that's how this is engineered. It's not a one and done. If you want to show multiple ventilation-induced flashovers, you know, you're able to do that. Doors closed, we open the door, watch the smoke behavior. Now it should look really mean on the tick, does it? I mean, it should just look like, man. And see it here before you're there, right? I mean, learn it here, learn how to use that equipment here, because now look at where I can ignite now. All right, watch this. Did you see how it was hanging out underneath for a period of time and then it blows out? So that's your flammable range, your ignition temperature, your fire point, all them different things taking place here. And even with fire from the ceiling down to the floor, you can still see how that air is coming in. You know, you can still see that taking place. So, one more time, engine company arrived on scene, they simply opened the door. And now they're crawling in there looking for the seat of the fire. We'll let it build up a little bit more this time. That way you get a little bit more time looking at the smoke. Remember, the 50% of the neutral plane, 500 degrees. All them things that the folks that kill the flashover talk about. Doors closed, we open it, look at what's taking place there, and you can tell it's coming, right? Any questions so far? Okay, one more time, smoke is fuel. Close the door, focus on that. We open it, and there's ignition. All right, so we tell everybody close the door, right? We tell kids, we tell everybody close the door. And sometimes we as firefighters, we're not very good at closing the door ourselves, right? So we want to really focus on that. We want to think about it. So here it is. Doors closed. Engine company pulls up on scene. We open it. What's going to happen? Fire gases are going to ignite. You can see it coming. So this is something that the folks that kill the flashover talk about. And what it is it's called 3D in the door. So one more time, doors closed. I open it. What's going to happen? It's going to ignite. There it is. You can see it coming. So now by 3Ding the door, doors closed, and what I'm doing is I'm putting moisture around it. All right, so I'm changing that, putting moisture around it. I crack the door, I put moisture inside, and then I close it. So what I'm doing here is I'm highlighting steam. Fire hates steam, right? So that's the whole idea of it. Fire hates steam. There it is. And you should probably see a drastic decrease in the temperature on the thermal imaging camera just by that little bit. Now, when I open this, yes, it's going to ignite, but not nearly as fast as it did earlier. You know, and then also, you know, if you're focusing on that, you know, hey, we're gonna kill it from the exterior while we're stretching the other, or whatever you may do. If you reset the fire, and just like we were doing, when we were resetting it, was it going back to the beginning phase of the fire, or was it going right to the growth phase when I opened the door? Yeah, you're going right to the growth phase. So that's something else that y'all can focus on whenever you're using it and doing the different things. I'm not saying do this. This is something that I just think is cool. I'm not saying do this on a scene, make that very clear, but I'm putting moisture in down low and I'm letting that extinguish the fire, okay? So that's just showing that air track, the different things taking place there. So I'm putting that moisture in down low. We'll let it reignite and we'll show that again. So there it is, it's burning, it's coming across. So I got my stream and I'm just putting that moisture down low, showing that air track, showing it drawing in. So, any questions?